The European Council and the European Parliament have recognized the unique situation and the specific circumstances of the island of Ireland. I see this specific situation as a special responsibility. First, the responsibility to preserve the peace process and the gains of the Good Friday Agreement in all its parts, Secondly, the responsibility to maintain the common travel area. And thirdly, the responsibility to avoid the return of a hard border between Ireland and Northern Ireland. We need first to agree on political principles. Discussing technical solutions will be premature in the political context of Northern Ireland. And we are working hand in hand with the Irish government. And I want to thank the Taoiseach, Leo Varadkar, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Simon Coveney, and their teams in Dublin and also in Brussels for their commitment. I also want to thank the other member states and the European Parliament for their full support. We have seen in these negotiations that Ireland's interest is the 27th interest and vice versa. The UK said that it is ready to ensure the common travel area can continue to operate while respecting Ireland's obligations as an EU member state, including in relation to free movement. On the Good Friday Agreement, the UK, as co-guarantor, will also need to put solutions forward. In particular, the interlocking political institutions created by the Good Friday Agreement will need to continue operating effectively. We need to avoid the return to a hard border between Ireland and Northern Ireland while respecting Ireland's place in the single market. North-South cooperation will need to be preserved in all policy areas. Irish citizens residing in Northern Ireland must continue to enjoy their rights as EU citizens. It is the birthright of all the people of Northern Ireland to identify themselves and be accepted as Irish or British or both. And the European Union will honor its financial commitments in favor of programs supporting the peace process, such as PEACE or Interreg. We expect the UK to do the same as part of its financial settlement. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are not there yet. The solution for the border issue will need to be unique. It cannot pre-configure the future relationship between the European Union and the UK. It will require both sides to be flexible and creative. And what I see in the UK's paper on Ireland and Northern Ireland worries me. The UK wants the EU to suspend the application of its laws, its customs union, and its single market as what will be a new external border for the EU. And the UK wants to use Ireland as a kind of test case for the future EU-UK custom relations. This will not happen. Creativity and flexibility cannot be at the expense of the integrity of the single market and the customs union. This will be not fair for Ireland, and this would not be fair for the European Union.
Catherine Fiore, EU reporter. It's interesting that very few British journalists here have asked on the question of one of your main papers here, the Irish border question. Do you think there's a general complacency from your British interlocutors and in the media about the situation in Northern Ireland? And do you think that the Good Friday Agreement is taken more for granted in the UK than it is in the EU 27? And Minister Davies described, when asked about Northern Ireland by the Select Committee in the House of Commons, he said, everything will be fine because Michel Barnier has an emotional commitment to Northern Ireland. Can I ask you, how would you describe David Davies's commitment and the UK government's commitment to Northern Ireland? Thank you.
Moi, j'ai une attention.
Well, politically and personally speaking, I am following this situation very closely. I am committed. I have a job to do. And the Good Friday Agreement and the Common Travel Area and the dialogue that's been established, these are all things that Europe has encouraged. I've already told you, I don't know whether we can talk about emotions, but I met with David Trimble and John Hume on the same day, and they used different words, but in the same day they talked about how important this dialogue had been for them, and how much they appreciated the support from Brussels as opposed to support from London or Belfast. So we know what our responsibilities are. The UK has its responsibilities as the co-guarantor of the Good Friday Agreement, and I have no further comment. There is a joint responsibility here, and it's actually created this situation by leaving the single market and the customs union. It's created this situation, but it has to be part of the solution as well. The solution can't come entirely from the European Union. So if you read again what I put in my first statement, we are awaiting proposals from the UK which are a reflection of that joint responsibility.